What happens when the world's most powerful military can no longer build its most advanced weapons? Not because of money, not because of technology, but because they ran out of a single critical metal. This isn't a future scenario. This is the nightmare that landed on the desk of the Secretary of Defense in a classified report dated January 8, 2026. The report had one chilling conclusion. Without a massive immediate supply of silver, America's missile arsenal goes dark. And in response, the Pentagon has just declared war. Not on a country, but on every single private silver buyer in the world. They're outbidding you. They're emptying the vaults. And they're making it impossible for ordinary investors to get their hands on physical metal. By the time most people realize what's happening, it will be too late. The silver will be gone, and you'll be left holding worthless paper promises. In this video, I'm going to give you the intelligence briefing that was delivered to Congress behind closed doors. First, I'll show you the 3 specific weapon systems that are completely dead without silver. This is the real reason for the missile crisis. Second, we'll expose the panic buying the Pentagon is doing right now and why it's making physical silver impossible for you to acquire. And third, I'll reveal how ordinary investors have become collateral damage in this war, and exactly how you can protect yourself from the great silver confiscation that's already underway. This isn't financial advice. This is a strategic briefing. Because what's happening right now isn't about markets anymore, it's about national survival. And when governments enter survival mode, private citizens always lose, unless they see it coming. So let me show you what they're hiding. So what exactly does silver do in a missile? To understand that, we need to look inside a Tomahawk cruise missile. This is a $2 million precision weapon that can hit a target 1,500 miles away with an accuracy of 3 meters. It's one of the most advanced pieces of military technology on Earth, and without silver, it's a very expensive paperweight. Let me break down the 3 critical components. Component number 1, the guidance system. A missile needs to see its target. It uses infrared sensors and radar to navigate through enemy airspace, avoid obstacles, and lock onto the target. These sensors work on high-frequency signals that need to be transmitted without any loss or distortion. The circuit boards that power these systems are coated with silver paste because silver has the highest electrical conductivity of any metal on Earth. Copper doesn't work. At high frequencies, copper causes signal degradation. The missile goes blind. It misses the target by miles, or worse, it hits the wrong target entirely. Component number 2, the battery. When a missile launches, it needs an instant, massive burst of energy, not the slow, steady power of a lithium-ion battery. A violent explosion of electrical current. That power comes from silver zinc batteries. These batteries are incredibly lightweight and can store enormous amounts of energy in a compact space. They can operate in extreme temperatures, from 40 to -60 to plus 160 C, and they can discharge their entire capacity in seconds without degradation. Lithium-ion batteries are too heavy, too slow, and too unstable for this application. If you tried to use them in a cruise missile, the missile wouldn't even leave the launcher. Component number 3, the wiring and connectors. Inside a Tomahawk missile, there are thousands of electrical connections. Every wire, every connector, every contact point is silver-plated. Why? Because silver doesn't corrode, it doesn't fail under extreme heat or vibration. When a missile is launched, it experiences forces that would destroy ordinary connections. Silver ensures that every electrical signal gets where it needs to go every single time. An F-35 fighter jet has over 400 pounds of silver in its wiring, avionics, and electrical systems. A single Tomahawk missile contains 2 to 5 pounds of silver. The U.S. military has 4,000 Tomahawk missiles in active inventory. That's 8,000 to 20,000 pounds of silver locked up in just one weapon system. And that's before we talk about Patriot missiles, THAAD interceptors, Aegis combat systems, satellite networks, and every other piece of high-tech military hardware that relies on silver. Here's the bottom line. Silver is not a component. It's the nervous system of modern warfare. Without it, the missile is blind, deaf, and dead, and the Pentagon just realized they're running out. The Pentagon has known about silver's importance for decades. So why did this suddenly become a crisis in January 2026? Because they received a report that changed everything. On January 8, 2026, the Defense Logistics Agency submitted a classified assessment to the Secretary of Defense. The report was titled Strategic Silver Supply Chain Vulnerability Assessment. Parts of this report were leaked to Defense News on February 12th, and what it revealed was terrifying. The report identified 2 critical vulnerabilities. Vulnerability number 1, the supply chain is controlled by China. The report stated in plain language that America imports 75% of its military-grade silver from Mexico and Peru. But here's the problem. Chinese companies, through Belt and Road Initiative investments, now control or have majority stakes in over 40% of Mexican and Peruvian silver mines. In a conflict scenario, China can cut off that supply with a single phone call. And America's missile production stops within 90 days. The report included a simulation. If China imposed a total export ban on silver to the US and its allies, American weapons manufacturers would run out of stockpiled silver in 11 weeks. After that, production lines shut down. New missiles can't be built. Existing systems can't be maintained. Vulnerability number 2, the industrial demand explosion. The military isn't the only one screaming for silver. The report documented a terrifying trend. Solar panel manufacturers consumed 8,600 tons of silver in 2025. That's up 34% from 2024. Electric vehicle production used 980 tons in 2025, up 41%. AI data centers, 5G infrastructure, medical devices, all consuming silver at unprecedented rates. The report's conclusion: the civilian industrial sector is now in direct competition with defense procurement for a finite, rapidly depleting resource. In a bidding war, defense contractors are losing. Translation: private companies are outbidding the Pentagon. Tesla is paying more for silver than the Department of Defense. And that's when the panic set in. The report ended with a single stark recommendation: immediate invocation of Defense Production Act authorities to secure strategic silver reserves. Time window, 6 to 12 months before market becomes completely unavailable. That report landed on the Secretary's desk on January 8th. By January 15th, the Defense Production Act was invoked. By January 22nd, the panic buying began. And by the time you're watching this video, the market has already been turned upside down. When the Pentagon panics, they do what they always do in a crisis. They throw unlimited money at the problem. On January 15th, 2026, President Trump signed an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act for silver procurement. What does that mean? It means the government can force private companies to prioritize military contracts over civilian orders. It means they can requisition supplies, and it means they can pay whatever price is necessary to secure the metal. Let me show you the evidence that this is already happening. Evidence. Factor 1. The Mint stops selling. On February 18th, 2026, the United States Mint issued a stunning announcement. They were temporarily suspending sales of American silver eagle coins to the public. The official reason? Supply chain constraints and plancher availability issues. But here's what really happened. Under the Defense Production Act, the Mint was ordered to redirect 100% of its silver blank production to defense contractors. The Mint couldn't sell coins to the public because the government seized their entire silver supply. This has never happened before. Not in 2008, not in 2020, not even during World War II. The Mint has always maintained public sales. Until now. Evidence number 2, the premiums explode. In a normal market, the premium on a 1,000-ounce silver bar is about $1 per ounce over spot price. That's the markup dealers charge for handling and delivery. As of March 10th, 2026, that premium is $14 per ounce. Why? Because you're no longer just competing with other investors. You're competing with Pentagon procurement agents who have been authorized to pay any necessary price to secure silver. One major bullion dealer in Dallas, speaking anonymously to Bloomberg on March 3rd, said, "We are getting orders from defense sector buyers that are 10 times larger than anything we've seen from private investors. And they're willing to pay premiums we've never seen before. They don't care about the price. They just want the metal." Evidence number 3. The delivery times collapse. In December 2025, if you ordered 1,000 ounces of silver from a major dealer, delivery time was 7 to 10 days. Today, March 15th, 2026, that same order has a delivery time of 12 to 16 weeks. Some dealers are quoting 20 weeks for large orders. Why? Because every available ounce is being diverted to government contracts under DPA mandates. Evidence number 4, the insider leaks. On March 5th, 2026, Reuters published an explosive article. They interviewed an anonymous silver refinery manager who said, "In the last 2 months, we've received more orders from the defense sector than we got in the previous 5 years combined. They're buying everything we can produce, and they're outbidding everyone. Private buyers don't stand a chance." Another source, a procurement officer at a major defense contractor, told Defense News, "We've been told to secure 6 months of silver inventory at any cost. Price is not a factor. Availability is the only concern. The word from above is, if we run out of silver, weapons production stops. And if weapons production stops, heads will roll." This is panic. This is desperation. And it's happening right now while most people are completely unaware. So who's the collateral damage in this war? You, the private silver buyer. Before January 2026, you could buy silver at reasonable premiums. You could get delivery in a week. You could choose from dozens of dealers competing for your business. Today, you're paying a war premium set by Pentagon buyers. You're waiting months for delivery, and half the dealers have out-of-stock signs on everything. But it gets worse. Even the silver you already own isn't safe. As we discussed in previous videos, when silver is classified as critical infrastructure under Section 232, the government reserves the right to requisition private holdings in a declared emergency. And the Pentagon's panic buying is sending a very clear signal. They expect a major conflict or supply cutoff in the near future. Think about what that means. They're not buying silver for routine maintenance. They're stockpiling for a war. And in a war, private property rights become secondary to national security. Your silver, your gold, your stockpile, it all becomes fair game for confiscation for the duration of the emergency. But here's the most terrifying part. The Pentagon isn't just buying physical silver, they're also moving to control the entire supply chain. In late February 2026, the Department of Defense quietly approached the 3 largest silver refineries in the United States with an offer: exclusive supply contracts in exchange for guaranteed pricing. Translation: the refineries agree to sell all their output to the government at fixed prices, and in return, the government guarantees they'll buy everything they produce. 2 of the 3 refineries accepted. The third refused, and is now facing a DPA mandate that will force them to comply anyway. What does this mean for you? It means that within 6 months, there will be no physical silver available in the civilian market at any price. Every ounce produced will go straight to government and defense contractor stockpiles. The door is closing, and once it shuts, it won't reopen until the crisis is over, whenever that is. So what's the end game here? The Pentagon will drain every available ounce of physical silver from the market. Private buyers will be priced out, rationed out, or simply locked out entirely. Paper silver, the ETFs and futures contracts that most investors hold will collapse. Because when the physical metal disappears, those paper promises become worthless. You'll own shares in SLV, but the silver in the vault will have been requisitioned by the government under emergency powers. Your shares will be compensated at a government-set price that's a fraction of the real market value. Silver will become what it was always meant to be in a crisis: a government-controlled strategic resource. Not an investment, not a commodity, a weapon. And here's the final critical point. This missile crisis isn't really about missiles. It's about control. The government is using national security as justification to seize control of a resource that was, until recently, freely traded. Once they have that control, they're not giving it back. Even after the emergency ends, silver will remain classified as critical infrastructure. Purchases will be monitored. Large transactions will require approval. Private hoarding will be criminalized. Your biggest enemy right now isn't market volatility. It's not inflation. It's not even China. It's your own government bidding against you for an asset they plan to confiscate from you later. And if you don't act now, while there's still a narrow window of opportunity, you'll watch helplessly as your wealth evaporates in the name of national defense. So what can you do? You can't outbid the Pentagon. They have unlimited money and legal authority to seize supply. But you can act before they lock down the entire market. Here's your strategy. Strategy number 1, small denominations. Don't buy 1,000-ounce bars. They're expensive, illiquid, and the first target for government requisitioning. Instead, buy small coins and 10-ounce bars. American Silver Eagles, Canadian Maples, 10-ounce bars from reputable mints. These are easier to hide, easier to trade, and less likely to show up on government radar. Strategy number 2, private transactions. Stop buying silver with credit cards through online dealers. Every transaction is logged, tracked, and recorded. Find local dealers who accept cash. No digital trail, no records, no way for the government to prove what you own. Yes, you'll pay slightly higher premiums, but that's the price of privacy. And in a confiscation scenario, privacy is priceless. Strategy number 3, patience and persistence. The market is in panic mode. Premiums are insane. Availability is terrible. Delivery times are months. Don't chase the market. Don't panic buy at ridiculous premiums, but don't stop looking either. Set alerts, monitor dealers, check local coin shops. When supply briefly appears, move fast, but don't overpay out of fear. Strategy number 4, understand the bigger picture. Silver is just the opening move. The Pentagon is also hoarding platinum, palladium, and rare earth elements. All for the same reason. China controls the supply and a war is coming. Diversify your tangible assets. Don't put everything in silver. Spread your risk across multiple strategic metals and real assets. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Pentagon's panic buying is a sign of an imminent war? Are you finding it impossible to buy physical silver right now? Have you been priced out by the military bidding war? Drop your story in the comments below. Let's compare notes. Because the government doesn't want us talking about this, which is exactly why we need to. And if you want to know the 3 other metals the Pentagon is secretly hoarding right now, subscribe to this channel. That's our next intelligence briefing, and it will shock you even more than this one. The missile crisis is real. The silver is disappearing. And the window to protect yourself is closing fast. The Pentagon is outbidding you. The question is, can you move faster than they can lock you out?